something a little different as we kick off this morning. I'm going to ask my friend Laura to come and join me up here. Many of you would recognise Laura and her beautiful smile from part of our community here on a Sunday or on a Wednesday at Mainly Music. Hello, friend. Mwah. Here's a mic for you. Some of you might recognise her because you were just on the baptism video that we played not long ago, because Laura just got baptised just a couple of months ago after deciding to follow Jesus. Yay. I've been blessed to be doing a little bit of life with Laura and hearing a little bit about your story. And I know that Laura's story will resonate with many of you. And I wondered if you would just, thank you for being brave and coming up and sharing. Before Jesus, what did life look like? We're talking this morning about a searching and a longing. Is that something that you experienced?
100%. I can most definitely relate to that. I actually think I said to Ruthie probably sometime in the last couple of weeks, we talked about the hole in the soul, and I just felt that was, looking back over my life, I can now see that was, what I now refer to as a hole in the soul, a yearning, a searching, a looking for something that I felt I inherently knew was missing, I suppose I could say. And time eventually led me to this beautiful community of people and believers and to knowing Jesus. And that has been life-changing, life-giving on this journey. But essentially before knowing the Lord, I grew up a bit different to Ruthie, just in a standard family. I was very blessed. I had a mum and dad, still have a mum and dad who are still married. And I have two younger sisters. And we grew up down in Melbourne, very cold compared to the beautiful coast. But I came from a Catholic family, like I know many people in the room probably can relate to. And for me, I suppose I knew of God, but it wasn't until moving to the coast and actually meeting a lot of young Christian people that actually went to church. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, they go to church. Like, who does that?
They choose to.
They choose to go to church, Back in the city where I came from, my friends and I, we went to Catholic schools. We did the scene, we did the Christmas and the Easter church, typical set up baby Jesus at Christmas time. I knew that story pretty well, but that was sort of where it ended. And I didn't know that it was possible to have more than that. And I just sort of thought, oh yeah, that was God. Knew who he was, but had no idea that you could be in a relationship with him. It wasn't until I met some friends up here, young friends at the time. They would have been in their 20s and I was probably early 30s myself. And I remember thinking, gosh, these kids, I was calling them kids at the time, they're solid, they're grounded, they know who they are, they know what they want. And I just didn't feel that way in life. I sort of, at the time, was going through a big relationship sort of breakup. It had been a very long 10, 11-year period in my life, a very beautiful period, but just still something wasn't right. Something was still missing. And these young kids just seemed just connected and had their life together. And I thought to myself, gosh, I want a bit of what they've got going on, but how do you get that? And they were the ones that introduced me to Jesus and prayed for me. And they asked me, they said, Laura, can we pray for you? And I thought, that's really sweet. They're just going to jump in their bed at night and say, dear God, we'll pray for Laura. And I thought, that's really cute. And they said, no, like it was a young fella too. It was a married couple. I said, no, I'm going to pray for you now. And I thought, okay, what does that mean? I sat there and anyway, it was beautiful. I've always had a very open heart and I was open for anything. And that was probably a first experience of having a tangible change inside me, that I felt something moving and something was awakening, I guess. And then I can now look back at it and see that was the work of God, beginning and moving through.
So cool. And what's changed? Like, how do you feel? Like, you talked about the hole in the soul. I called it a God-shaped hole. Like, we all have different names for that yearning. What does it feel like now that's different to before you knew Jesus?
Yeah, definitely, Ruthie. I think, looking back, I think for me in life there was probably a lot of fear. I think I definitely grew up unknowingly, and my folks were amazing. They're great people, and they did their best they could with what they knew. And I think there was definitely still a bit of inherent fear that I wasn't aware of and picked up on as a kid, and pretty sensitive kid myself. And went through life not realising that was what was impacting a lot of my decisions and a lot of my choices in life. And so, yeah, as time went on, I was aware of this fear. And I think out of that stemmed a bit of control, trying to control our outcomes and our situations and our experiences. Just a lack of trust in, I guess, in life, in my surrounds, to an extent. Like, I was very outgoing and bubbly and had great relationships with people. I'm a bit of a people lover. So that was wonderful. But I think deep down there was a sense of, that void of trying to control things and keep things safe for me. And since coming to know the Father's love and coming to know that God is that perfect parent and he can now parent me in those ways that maybe I might have missed or needed as a little one, can now receive that and can learn how to, as best I can with God's help, because jeepers, parenting's not easy, try to do it a little bit different with my little fella, with our little fella. And I think, there's just not as much control or fear. And a big one as well is identity. I think got a couple of very beautiful women, Ruth included, and they're up on the screen there, and they've taught me that knowing who I am and whose I am has been a major step in my identity. I really know that I am a child of God and that I am loved for who I am, as I am. I don't need to search for that anywhere.
So good.
And that then fills that hole. Yeah. And life's not easy. There's just so many challenges, and no matter, we all face, ups and downs. But knowing that today's a new day. My goodness, Scott and I last night had a roller coaster of a night with our little fella, hitting the teenager time of life, and we were both very stressed and both probably said some nasty things to one another. And it was tough. And I sort of went to pray after it all and said, gosh, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I really mucked that up. I just need your help. But today I've woken up, and rather than potentially in the past, carrying self-condemnation or guilt or I mucked up, I'm the worst, parent ever, I've just cast that all at the feet of the cross, because I know that Jesus died for that. He took that from me. He doesn't want me to walk through today condemning myself and walking with guilt.
So good.
He took that for us.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest, most beautiful thing. Today I can get up and filled with his grace and mercy, because, gosh, I'm fully flawed as a human, and would try and jump back on the horse and parent again today, and today's a new day. And that's what I probably didn't have before knowing Jesus, that ability to know I'm okay.
So good.
Winning it all.
Oh my gosh, we can just go home now, right? Like,
don't know about that.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for sharing. And if you haven't had the honour of meeting beautiful Laura yet, come and say hi to her, because she's one of the most authentic people that I've ever met, and you inspire me every day just with your beautiful, sincere faith. And so thank you for sharing with us today. Yeah, give her a hand. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks, Kev. I wonder if you're in the room this morning, or even if you're watching us online, how many of you resonated with Laura's story of searching and finding that completeness and that hope in Jesus Christ.